And look, I'm not going to invest in a company that purposely creates internal division within its employee base. Hey, MCE crew, I hope your day is progressing profitably. Hey, I got something a little different for you today. Raytheon, the major defense contractor, has put a message out to its black employees saying take all copies of the autobiography of Malcolm X and Narrative of a Slave by Frederick Douglass off of their bookshelves at home. Can you believe this? Raytheon has done that. And then it also has encouraged all of the black employees at the company to join a local black space. I don't even know what that means. Wait a minute, huh? What did you say? Oh, my fault. What Raytheon has done is it's actually told all the white employees to join a local white space and to decolonize their bookshelves. So you see, when I put it the way I had it originally, it seemed pretty egregious, and it should seem equally as egregious in this particular instance where they're asking the white employees to decolonize their bookshelves. I don't even know what that means. So if I got a copy of a Mickey Spillane novel and I'm white, there's a problem here. So let's dig into this and talk about how Raytheon, the number 2 defense contractor and publicly traded company, how they are really just going through their company and creating division amongst the employees. Coca-Cola tried something like this a little while back. And the reason we're focusing on this as a financial literacy channel is because one of the things you need to do when you evaluate stocks, evaluate companies to decide whether or not you're going to buy their stock, is to look at the management, okay? If the employee base is divided, do you really think that's good for the long-term economic prospects of any company? Now, I will say this. This is a caveat. Raytheon is not selling consumer products, okay? They've only got a few customers, the largest of which is the U.S. government, the Department of Defense. So until me and you start buying, fighter jets and nuclear bombs, we're not really going to affect anything that Raytheon does. But we're focusing on them and this particular instance of them going through their company, creating racial division as something that in this 21st century, you need to look for when you do your due diligence. And if you think that this is beneficial to employees working together, or if you think this is something that management should be doing, then hey, Raytheon may be the company for you. But if you feel as though this is deleterious to the operation, the good operation of a company, then you might want to pay attention. So here we go. This is from the New York Post. I will post the article in the description. Decolonize your bookshelf. Leaked documents show defense contractor Raytheon uses critical race theory. Raytheon calls on its white workers to reject racial equality in favor of equity and, quote, participate in reparations. Internal documents from the defense contractor show. So Raytheon wants its employees to participate in reparations. But in 2019, Raytheon made $7 billion. Why don't they start giving out reparations? Okay, I got Cash App, Raytheon. Workers at the nation's second largest defense company are also encouraged to, quote, decolonize your bookshelf, unquote. Quote, join a local white space, unquote. And, quote, defund the police, unquote. Defund the police? That's very interesting that Raytheon would make a suggestion like that. Raytheon is a defense contractor. Raytheon has an entire law enforcement division. So they're actually out there speaking against, being very hypocritical and speaking against their own profits. This is incredible. The company's, quote, Stronger Together, unquote, program was introduced last summer in an effort to get its 180,000 employees to help drive near and long-term societal change. This from a company that manufactures weapons of war. Death. They're in the business of death. And they want to manufacture societal change. Well, they should retool their factories and, start producing, something more peaceful if they really are into what they're saying here, don't you think? Raytheon Technologies' chief diversity officer is an individual named Marie Cilla Dixon, and she wrote, on behalf of this policy. The program is based around the framework of intersectionality, a theory that ranks discrimination and privilege around people's social and racial identities. The documents which Rufo said he obtained through a corporate whistleblower ask white, straight, Christian, able-bodied, English-speaking employees to deconstruct their identities. English-speaking employees? Shouldn't all of their employees be speaking English? They are an American company that is producing products for the American government. Now, I don't care. They can have employees there to speak 30 languages. Who cares? Shouldn't English be one of them? So why are they singling out English-speaking people, white people, straight people, Christian people? And if you don't have any problem with this, which I know this audience, by and large, probably does, but for those who don't, just change up the words here. Make the word white black, okay? And then see how that grates on you. And that'll illuminate what's wrong with this entire picture. A chart entitled What Not to Say to Your Black Colleagues Right Now instructs white Raytheon workers to never tell colleagues they, quote, pray things get better soon, or pray things change soon is the exact quote, or hope that social tensions, quote, calm down, unquote, because their discomfort with any racially charged situations cannot match that of a non-white person, the leaked literature claims. Now, notice how prejudicial this is. It's making a lot of assumptions about people of color and then lumping all of us into one gigantic category, okay? That's what this is doing, and they don't even realize this. The company maintained that black employees were, quote, exhausted, mentally drained, frustrated, stressed, barely sleeping, scared, and overwhelmed, unquote. How do they know all their black employees feel this way? Have they done a company-wide survey? Maybe they have. I don't know. Raytheon has separate employee resource groups for black, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, and LGBTQ groups in its quest to, quote, advance an inclusive culture by highlighting the workers' differences, Russo wrote in the City Journal. You're highlighting worker differences. Don't you think it would be better for corporate culture if you highlighted what the workers have in common, which is they all work for your company? Raytheon did not immediately return a request for comment to the New York Post. Earlier this month, the largest teachers union in the country passed a resolution to include critical race theory in schools nationwide. This when the United States is nowhere near the top in math, science, or reading in a 21st century global economy, a technologically based economy. More and more each day, our economy becomes tech-based, and the United States is nowhere near the top in math, science, or reading. And yet we're going to have a teachers union come out, and they're going to press for critical race theory to be within the curriculum where you have a limited time, I think 7 hours in a day, okay? I've never heard a teachers union come out and adamantly say, you know what, we're going to teach economic literacy as a national curriculum. You've never heard them stand on that principle. What exactly how will critical race theory, how will it enable these students to go out and become financially independent? How will it enable them to start a business in the 21st century or get a job? CRT proponents argue the theory helps people understand racism and inequality and will help lead to a more equitable future. Critics claim it promotes division, not unity, and unnecessarily brings race, religion, sexuality, and politics into the classroom and workplace. When I was in the corporate world, I didn't care who I was working with, what you did in your spare time, what color you were, and all of the people I worked with, if they didn't feel that way, they didn't show it. Raytheon, you already have a mechanism to deal with people who cannot work productively with people of other cultures, other backgrounds, other preferences, and other ethnicities. It's called bringing them into HR, giving them a warning, and then if they don't adhere to the policy of working cooperatively together, you fire them. Okay, you separate them from your company. This is creating internal division within a large corporate structure. Now, this guy who broke this, who leaked these documents, says he's got more documents out there about more Fortune 100 companies. So we'll see who else is on the list. We already know Coca-Cola is. And look, I'm not going to invest in a company that purposely creates internal division within its employee base. I'm against that from the standpoint of just principle and from the standpoint of my finances. Now, I will say, Raytheon they probably won't suffer any ramifications from this because, again, their largest customer is the United States government, not consumers. The only thing that I can see happening here is if companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, other up-and-coming aerospace service providers, if they don't have this, if they have a more inclusive culture and just a culture based on paying attention to the work and advancing the company by providing quality to the end user customer, then I can see the brightest minds are going to continue and maybe accelerate going to those companies instead of these old line companies like Raytheon. Now, there could be some codicil inside a major defense contract that says you got to push this stuff on your employees if you want this government contract. That could be out there. I don't know. But I will tell you, if it isn't, this is deleterious and detrimental to the mission of the company because can you imagine coming into an office where you're suspected just by virtue of the color of your skin? Can you imagine coming into an office like that and feeling good about working in that environment? That's detrimental to shareholders in the long run. All right, guys, that's all I have for now. We'll monitor the situation and talk to you about other companies that are doing this in the future. And we'll take a look. Again, Raytheon, they might not suffer economically because if you're producing the types of things that they are, it's only a couple of buyers out there, U.S. and its allies. All right, guys, I hope you have a productive day. I'll talk to you soon.